Love in the trenches.
Love in the trenches. Communication is one of the reasons why people split up. We've had to really compromise in the communication style.
Even if I said I had a good day, how did I say that I had a good day? Yeah. How did the words that came out of my mouth translate?
Sometimes it takes an intentional pause. Intentional pause to say, okay, cool. If all I got is 5 minutes, let me make this 5 minutes be intentional.
I'm kind of getting lost to who I am in between ensuring the kids are good, ensuring you are good, and making sure the house is good, making sure mom's is good.
Right.
Now it's kind of like, well, what am I to do? Who am I?
A better you equals a better relationship.
Just remember that you guys are in it together. If you in the trench, then we in the trench.
What's up, family? This is Jay.
And this is Tay.
And you're now tuned in to another episode of the Unscripted Journey Podcast. Well, family, it is a privilege and an honor to be with you once again.
Yes.
And we are now here for another episode. And this episode is entitled what?
Love in the trenches.
Love in the trenches.
Yeah.
So when we talk about love in the trenches, just to give the people kind of an overview, like what are we, because when you think about trenches, you think about, a military term.
Right.
Right. And so when we say love in the trenches, what are we saying to the people?
Kind of like those tough moments, like those moments that are challenging.
Yeah.
Those moments where you have to dig deep.
Yeah.
And try to figure out things.
Yeah.
So like when I'm thinking of trenches, that's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
So when I think of trenches, like the first thing that comes up when I think of like love in the trenches, like couples when they're in the trenches, like one of the main things that comes up to me is like communication.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So communication in the trenches, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we're talking about communication in the trenches, like, what do you think, like, are some things that would cause your communication to be in a trench? Like, even with us, like, what do you think some trenches of communication have been with us? Tread lightly.
You started already. We just started. I think when we think of communication is number one, communication styles.
Yeah.
Right. How do people desire to communicate? I know I am a phone person. Right. I'm a texter. Phone conversation. And so you are more of an in-person.
Right.
You are more of a person that wants to be in your face.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. And sometimes I am I'm not that, right? I'd rather be, I like to text you throughout the day, send you different memes, laugh, joke, talk trash a little bit, but that's not really your thing, right?
Right. And so it's funny because you did something this morning and I'm like, so y'all, he sends me a voice message through text. And he's literally in the bathroom. I'm in bed. And then he proceeds to say, did you get my text? Now, I'm thinking, I didn't even see you do this text, let alone the voice text. So I didn't even hear you speaking to the voice text. So now I'm feeling like, is this some type of AI or something you got going on? Because like, I'm literally in the bed, you're literally in the bathroom, and our room ain't that big. So I was like, this is so crazy. And then like, you were like, did you read the text? At this point, I'm like, just say it. Like, just say it. But yes, I agree with you. Like those communication styles, like how somebody communicates is very important. So you can find yourself in the trenches if you guys can't like.
Yeah, you can't. Because when we think about that, when I think about that in all the years of our existence together.
Yeah.
We've had to really compromise in the communication styles. Right. Because, I would get upset if I didn't send you, some funny stuff. I'm like
12 funny videos.
And I'm like, hey man, you ain't seen none of my stuff. Like you ain't responded and nothing. Did nothing make you laugh? Like didn't that stuff spark a communication?
I didn't see it. Okay.
Right. And
I didn't look.
And so that's her thing. And then I've had to learn because my wife can talk. I mean, and she can pick sometimes the most inopportune times to talk. I'll be watching a show or something and she'll start sparking a conversation. You're like, dog, like, don't you see? I'm watching the show. I'm winding down. And now you won't see and spark up a philosophical conversation in the middle of a show that I'm trying to watch. And so we've had to adjust.
Yeah, we've had to adjust.
And understanding like, okay, this may not be my thing.
Right.
Right. But if it's her thing, thing, or if it's his thing, then it's our thing.
Right.
Right. And so I think that's a big one that you have to learn in the trench. And I think that happens, it happens periodically. You know, it's funny because, you know, when I find myself doing premarital counseling, one of the things that I tell people is, well, I tell couples, hey, communication is one of the reasons why people split up, why people divorce,
sure.
because, you know, you're not willing to talk, you're not willing to adjust your time. You know,
Right.
like even you, like my brain clicks on the later it gets.
Yeah, mine's is like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like it starts off real strong in the morning. Like when we first got together, remember, I would literally wake up and roll over to you and be
you
like,
want to talk about used to be hot, upset.
Right. You would be like, I just can't believe you did this. I just can't believe you woke me up at 8 o'clock and just woke me up about business.
It was when we was in
I
the
just
military.
couldn't believe you did this.
And so it'd be like 6 o'clock in the morning.
I would.
And you be going full tilt, like, we gotta
force.
pay this, we gotta do this,
Yeah.
kids, they gotta do this. I'm like, dog, you didn't even tell me good morning. You didn't even kiss me. You didn't even put your nice soft hands on my face and be like, hey, you know, it's so glad we're alive. You straight. I'm like, dog, how disrespectful can you be?
That's kind of how he was too, y'all. Like, this is just so disrespectful. I just can't believe. And I'm like, this is giving a lot. But also understanding that you come alive at night, and you having to respect that too, because I will be in here sleep. You will literally jump on me. You will get in the bed and do like a wrestling move on me.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't asleep.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how disrespectful is this? I just can't believe he really did this to me, right? So it's just kind of like, you know, really understanding like, hey, you guys got to compromise.
Yeah.
So a lot of times now, like, I may not look at all 20 of your memes, right? But I'll try to get through the first like 7 or 8 and do like a reply and get my laugh and do those things. And so, and I've definitely gotten better with the morning. Yeah. I don't do that anymore.
No, you don't, and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
right?
it took me a while too, but I was like, I guess this is kind of like crazy that I'm like waking him up like this and he's not even awoke.
And this is how she would, like, literally you would wake me up like that. No good morning, no nothing, just straight like, hey, we got, I'm like,
got business to tend to. Right. Yeah.
But no, I can say that in growing of how to communicate, of knowing each other's communication style, I've seen you adjust like even you, like you're like, okay, you know, all right, you stand up a little bit later. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're not automatically putting your head on the pillow to go to sleep. Like you're talking. And so it's fun. And I think one of the funnest parts I love is that we can be in mid conversation at night and you be like straight up sleep. And I wouldn't even get mad. I would just love it. I'm like, this is so sweet. Like, you know, she tried. Like, you know what I mean? Like she tried to hang and have a conversation, but she's done. And I really do love that. I really love that how we've grown in adjusting how we receive each other's communication style. So I really do love that. Yeah. So when you think about communication, you know, when you think about that's a trench, what do you think is another possible trench that people go through when they have love in the trenches? So
I think of like the mundane trench, like the day-to-day trench, like the roommate trench, right? And I think about that because that just goes along kind of like sliding from communication to this. Now, what are we communicating about? So now we've got like, okay, well, we have found a way to communicate. You know, now I'm like, okay, I'm a compromise and I get your communication. You kind of get my communication. But now what are we communicating about? Are we communicating about business? Like the kids got to go here. What's for dinner? What time you going to be home? What's on your schedule? And that definitely can be a very real trench, especially for people with kids and busy lives, because it's like, then you lose like the communication of just like you guys. Right. Or like things like for real, like, how was your day? Like, I know that it's been plenty of times where we said, how was your day? And it's just kind of like, that's just what you say. That's what you say. Like, you're not really listening to how the day was. And even with the communication piece of that, like, how did I say my day was? Like, even if I said I had a good day, how did I say that I had a good day? Was it was like, it was a good day. Was it was like, it was a good day today. Like, how did that how did the words that came out of my mouth translate, right?
Right.
And so I think we can all get kind of stuck in that just day-to-day trench where it's like all you're talking about,
Yeah.
all you're speaking about is, and all you're doing is just moving about the cabin and doing day-to-day business versus really connecting.
Right.
And spending that time like kind of diving more into you guys or
Right.
us or whomever. And so I think that's a big trench, a really big trench you can easily slip into if you're not being super intentional about it, if you're not really paying attention.
Right.
And we've gotten stuck in that trench, and that's been a rough trench to get out of.
No,
right?
yeah, most definitely, because especially when you get busy, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're busy and you're doing more passing and going
Yeah.
than you are just coming together. And so, I've done it, and I've caught myself lately, right? Because sometimes we have to communicate through the phone because we're going, right? We got, with the kids' activities, with sports, with, different things that we do outside of our family, outside of our marriage, of what we do separately. And so sometimes we have to try to get a 20-minute or 30-minute. And sometimes while we're doing that, we're trying to decompress from our day to go into another meeting, go into another setting. And so we find ourselves talking and scrolling. Right. And so because we're trying to decompress, but I'm trying to give each other time. And so we're talking.
Yeah.
Right? And one person is talking and being intentional and saying some stuff that really needs to be addressed and talked about. And then, because I've caught myself, you'd be like, what you doing?
Right. Because you can always tell when like somebody's really not paying attention on the other end.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And then it kind of sucks because then it's kind of like if I'm doing something else while I'm talking to you, like watching TV or talking to the kids or just doing something else while I'm in the midst of talking to you, you may actually say something that's important that I may miss.
No,
right?
most definitely.
And so I think that day-to-day trench is rough. I think that, you really have to kind of dig deep to like ensure that you're not getting stuck in that. And don't get me wrong, like it's a great thing to try to get aligned, especially like before your weeks happen so that you guys have all that in order. But you also need to make sure that you have time to just kind of talk through your day fully and have a real conversation to connect with your person.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And I want to go deeper is never forgetting intentionality.
Yeah.
Right. Never forgetting the intentionality that sometimes it takes an intentional pause.
Right.
Right. Intentional pause to say, okay, cool. If all I got is 5 minutes, let me make this 5 minutes be intentional.
Right.
That it's the most impactful 5 minutes that I've ever had. Right. So I think that's a big thing. So we talked about the communication trench. We talked about the mundane or mundane, however you want to say it, trench. Right. What would be another one that you would say a trench for us to be, for everyone to be aware of, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I would think the other trench that I would think of is like an identity trench, right? Just kind of like, so we've been to the communication.
Yeah.
We've talked about like the day to day, but now it's like, okay, I'm kind of getting lost in who I am between this day to day, right? Like I'm kind of getting lost as to who I am in between ensuring the kids are good, ensuring you are good, and making sure the house is good, making sure mom's is good.
Right.
Now it's kind of like, well, what am I to do? Who am I? Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that could be one that also like people can get stuck in, and that can be detrimental to the relationship, not just to you.
Right.
So what you say about it? What you think about like that trench, like the identity trench?
When I think about the identity trench, I think about how you can get, I think you said it, I get lost into the relationship.
Yeah.
And then you forget that you're still a person,
right?
That you're still human. And for me, we've seen it, right? We've both experienced it, that we still need our time because a better you equals a better relationship, right? A better couple, right?
Yeah, I totally agree.
And so, what I've seen, one of the things that for me that I'm appreciative of is that, you love me being around. Like you love that.
Yeah.
And so, but me being an extrovert, I do have a little bit of introvertness in me that sometimes I do appreciate just being by myself.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love is that you understood that, hey, give him that time so that he can be better.
Yeah.
So like, I'll never forget, and when we were in Virginia, our old home, I used to have my own,
Yeah.
my own little room.
Space, yeah.
And I would just go up there and play the game for a few hours, right? To decompress from the day.
Yeah.
Just to, and then I'll be able to come back and be like, all right, how's everybody? You know what I mean? And so I appreciate that. Even knowing you, like, and this is one thing you should love me to do with you, but I was like, I can't do this. Let's go shopping, right?
Yeah.
You like, babe, I want to go shopping. Okay, cool, let's go shopping. And you will be in the mall 3-4 hours and buy absolutely nothing. And I'll be like, I can't do this no more.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm understanding that that's what you like. So I say, hey, go with your girls. You know what I mean? Go do that thing that you like, right? Because understanding that sometimes you need to be able to still be you, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's important, especially in our relationship, because we are always giving of ourselves, right? Whether it be our kids, whether it be your mom, whether it be ministry, whether it be work. And so I love when you're like, hey, me and my girls, we're going to Houston on this weekend for a few days. We going to Vegas. Okay, cool. Because you still get a little bit of piece of you.
Yeah.
Right? You like to, you ain't finna be on a bar hop and and none of that, but just to go out. Let your hair down and be you, right?
Yeah.
And fill your cup up when it's just being you. Because in all honesty, even though you're the older of the bunch, I'm probably older because it's like, we did the club and not saying we club, but like some of that stuff got old quick to me.
Yeah.
Right. And so I enjoy being home. If I'm especially with you, like I can be at home, be in the backyard with the fire pit, and enjoying some jazz, enjoying some music, and just chilling, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's understanding we are still human.
Right.
And so you have to allow space. And I would even say this to the spouse that can see your spouse kind of drifting more into the marriage and less into themselves, that to be aware and cognizant and be aware and cognizant of it and be encouraging to say, hey, I love us, but in order for us to be better and to grow and to always be good, you still need to go and do your thing, right?
Yeah.
Every now and then. I think that's awareness, because I did that because you were one of the ones who really, like, you just...
I know. I was about to say that was like a real big trench for me, probably when we first started having kids, because it was like once we left DC, and that was like, I knew everybody there. My family was there. All my friends was there.
Right.
And then we had to go somewhere else. I was like, I don't have nobody here, and I'm not an extrovert. So it's very hard to make friends. You know what I mean? It's already hard to make friends as it is as an adult, right? But then on top of me kind of being like secluded and kind of like to myself, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so hard. So I was like, no friends for a while. And so I was like, y'all all I got.
Right.
So like, I want to do everything with y'all.
Yeah.
So then it was like, you wanted to go hang out with your boys. I'm like, what boys? Like, what you want to do? You want to play some basketball?
Right.
Like, what we trying to do? And it's just like, oh, I'm just trying to go out. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is giving me a headache. Right. And so, I feel like it lasted that way for like a few years. It took me a while to kind of be like, I have got to figure out a tribe or a community.
Yeah. I think what helped and what kind of pushed you, so I got deployed.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you were now thrust into saying, I got to find my community because my best friend, he gone.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, those are the things, because for you, it's just like, I'm like, girl, go,
Right. It's like, no, I don't got nowhere to go.
Right. Like, I
don't want no new friends.
Yeah.
But so, I think that was like, that was a really big trench for me. And it was like, but once I got it, I was like, okay, cool, I got it. But it just took me a long time to get
most
it.
Definitely. Yeah. No, most definitely. So what would you say would be another trench that you would say, hey, this is another trench that you could possibly be, find yourself in, finding yourself trying to get out of it?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you. You've been asking me most of those. So what do you think a trench is?
I think faith can be a trench, right?
Yeah.
I think that when you are a couple, that can be a trench that you got to find yourself out of,
Yeah.
right? And when I say faith is, well, again, we're talking about two individuals making one, right? And so there may be one individual that faith is a little bit stronger, a little bit deeper.
Okay, I was just about to ask that. Like, what are you talking about as far as faith? Okay.
And so then now you find yourself in a trench when you believing and you are at one place, and then you have another one who may not be where you at. And so sometimes it can become a tug of war struggle, right? Because it's like you don't want to leave them, but you want them to be willing to come with you, right? If that makes sense. And so, because I look at it, our relationship, faith thing was, and I think we've talked about it last season. Faith for me was something ingrained in me, right? And so I've always had this sense of belief, this sense of God can do anything. This sense of no matter what it is, no matter if it's healing, no matter if it's bringing us together. Like it was always that. It was always the glass is half full, not half empty. Right. And so that has been a challenge because there would have been times when you would think more natural than spiritual. Right.
It's glass empty, dog. Like it ain't nothing in here.
And so I would have to, sit down and have those conversations. and at times it was frustrating, right? It was frustrating because it's like, I believe this, and because you don't, it's a struggle, and it's almost like I'm being ridiculed, punished. Not saying you were, but the feeling was I'm being punished because of my faith. Right? Because of my belief, because of my stance. And so I said it was a trench, but it was a beautiful journey, if I'm honest, because I was able to sit down and walk this journey through you, with you, right? Like you were willing to say, okay, I'm not there, but I'm not closed off. Right. And so in that moment, I learned how to walk somebody through this journey. Yeah. Right. And how to not just walk them through it, but walk with them. Right. And so for me, there were times where we sit down and had to have those conversations, right? Give space for how you felt. Give space for you not being there yet, not not ridiculing you because your faith was still forming. Yeah. But then being able to say, okay, let's get there, let's encourage, and then let's keep walking. And so like now, like, when I look at that, but I don't believe that's a trench we'll ever have to, go through again because I feel like, but where we are because of that trench. But I think that when we think of these trenches, one word just creeped up with all these trenches we talked about is patience. Patience, yeah. Right. Like if you are the one that's aware, right? And if you're not, you need to be patient with the one that you're trying to bring along. Yeah. Right. And so, that goes for both parties because there's always going to be a party that's a little bit further. Yeah. Right? And there has to be a patience. Here's why there must be patience. There must be patience because there has to be grace. Right. Right. You didn't come out the womb like that. Right. It was developed. Right. And sometimes some people are developed faster than others because when I think of all these trenches, there were some trenches I was more developed. Yeah. In the beginning, and you were more developed in the beginning. Right. And the tension was like, come on.
Yeah. Because I was about to say, and even when you're talking about the faith trench, like, again, we talked about communication and stuff like that. You knew my communication style. So y'all don't let him act like it was all like, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Sometimes you was just like, I need you to get there. Like, babe, come on. Like, I need you to get there. Right. Like, and so sometimes it was that. And it was like, and then I just had to be like, okay, so you got to get there.
Yeah.
Like I had always been open, just really not sure how to get there, right? Like how to navigate it. Like how do I get my thoughts to get to a different place than where they have been, right? And so, but you know, I know it was nice to say that you was like, come on, you got it, you can do it, we're gonna see. Sometimes you just like, all right, babe, like I'm gonna need you to get there.
And I think sometimes you need that.
Right. And I did.
I think sometimes I needed it, right? Like sometimes you needed to that sense of urgency, right? That sense of like, all right, like come on, we you know, because and I think it comes from a place of like, how long are we gonna sit here in this, right? Let us get over this hump because I'm tired of fighting this battle because there's 1,000 more battles we got to fight, and let's get past this one. So yeah, most definitely,
And I think it was okay, especially for me, because sometimes I needed that. Like that's the way. I need that communication sometimes to get me moving. It's like, okay, that's enough. Yeah. Like, come on up, get on up from there. Like, and so for me, when those moments happen, it really made me be like, okay, you got to get up. Then you got to do better. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, you up in your faith. Like, you're going to have to do better. Right. Yeah. So I think that that's good, you know, and I think that the faith trench is a very real trench. It was a very real one for us.
Nah, most definitely.
And I think, like you said, somebody's always going to be better in one area than the next. So that patience and understanding how your partner receives your communication and stuff like that is super important.
No, most definitely. Yeah. No, most definitely. So as always, we always do this. We always end this way. If we could tie it all together. Yeah. What would you say to tie it all together when it comes to love in the trenches?
I would say for love in the trenches, just remember that you guys are in it together. Yeah. It is not about how you receive things. Yeah. It is not about where you are in the trench. It is about where you guys are in the trench and how to come to a compromise or how to come to a median where you guys can both meet so that you can get out the trench, right? Because most times, even if I get out the trench and I'm like, I'm doing good. If you in the trench, then we in the trench. Yeah. So I just think that it's all about just meeting each other where you're at and trying to figure out that compromise so that you guys can both be successful and get out of that trench.
No, most definitely. No, I like that.
Yeah. What do you say?
I would say that when it comes to the trench, remember the purpose of the trench.
Yeah, that's good too.
Right? Struggle comes when there's two forces, right? Trying to come together. And so struggle comes when there's two wheels. Yeah. Right. And so understanding that there's a struggle because there's two wheels and not one. Right. So when you come to the trench and there's a struggle, you say, okay, cool. Well, this struggle is necessary because we want this duality to become singular. Yeah. Right. And we want this two to become one. And so remember that the trench has a purpose behind it, right? The struggle has a purpose. And so when you remember that, then you won't go into the struggle, into the trench, mad, upset, but understanding, hey, this is a goal for us to get closer, right? To get together and to be able to get out of this trench and into the next one.
Yeah. Right? I think that's good. Yeah.
I think that's good too.
All right. Well, then that'll close out that love in the trenches.
Well, family, I'm Jay.
And this is Tay.
And you were just tuned in to another episode of the Unscripted Journey Podcast. Peace. What's up, family? We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Yes. Listen, we want you to do at least 3 things for us. The first thing we're going to ask you to do, like this episode. Like it. Come on. What's the second thing?
Come on and share this episode. On, y'all. Sharing means caring.
Yeah. And then the third thing we're going to ask you to do, subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe to wherever you're listening, whether it be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening from. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, and the last thing I'm gonna ask you guys to do is comment.
Come on, y'all.
Come on, let us know how you feel. Ask us some questions, and also share where you watching from. Yeah, where are you guys at?
Listen, fam, we appreciate it. I'm Jay,
and this is Tay.